Brent crude is nearing $98 a barrel. The Strait of Hormuz remains closed. The global data flows across our screens right now are flashing with warnings of blockades and tension. But on the ground, the reality is a raw emotional release. After 2 ceasefires in 48 hours, people in Lebanon are firing into the sky to mark the quiet, standing in front of destroyed buildings. Psychologists call this the parasympathetic rebound, when your nervous system runs on low-level cortisol for weeks to survive a sustained threat. A sudden pause gives your body permission to let go. It does so by collapsing into deep exhaustion. The global news cycle fixates entirely on this immediate fragility, but by focusing only on the exhaustion and the rubble, it misses the underlying structural resilience of the region. Look at the broader geographic scope of this ancient trade route. It still connects London to Dubai, Doha to Mumbai, and stretches all the way to Singapore. Somewhere along this specific axis right now, a founder is signing a commercial lease. Someone is drafting a pitch deck at 2 a.m. because an idea won't leave them alone. They are ignoring the headlines, and they are building. The world remains highly complicated, but the vast economic engine of capital, culture, and ambition moving through this corridor has not stopped. Doha functions as a node of historical retention. Architecture, like the Museum of Islamic Art, stands as a physical reminder that craft and culture outlast the daily news cycle by centuries. That cultural stillness translates directly to business resilience. During regional crises, founders here look at empty dining rooms and actively choose to stay open. They retain their staff, maintain their menus, and trust that the city will eventually come back. Down the coast, Dubai operates on a different frequency. This is a city with a 92% expat population and a median age of 33. Instead of treating the city as a mere temporary stopover, this massive young demographic is actively building permanent infrastructure. You see it in places like Al Circle Avenue. They built an entire arts district dedicated to quiet drama and spring gallery openings because they required a neighborhood that wasn't a mall. Even when the surrounding region stalls, these two cities function as the corridor's stabilizing anchors, actively retaining both talent and capital. Then you hit the raw demographic momentum of Riyadh. 70% of Saudi Arabia is under 35. They are loud, well-dressed, and moving with an urgency that doesn't ask for permission. Look at the gaming industry here. This is a $5.1 billion market. Governments are funding massive high-tech arenas with the exact same industrial focus they use to build their airports. Across the Arabian Sea, Mumbai adds another layer of velocity. The city is driven by a massive class of first-generation professionals, aged 22 to 35, armed with their first degrees and their first disposable income. You can measure that new wealth directly during the IPL cricket season. Millions of young professionals order in, tune out the noise, and dedicate their entire evening to the match. While Western markets rapidly age, the middle of this corridor is accelerating, fueled entirely by unprecedented youth and newly unlocked money. Move eastward to Singapore, and the demographic shifts. The median age is 42. Here, even leisure is methodical. The city provides the extreme structural efficiency required to keep this massive economic loop functioning. And when you trace the route all the way westward, it extends directly into the massive Middle Eastern and South Asian diasporas living in New York and London. In London, distinct neighborhoods and late-night restaurants act as unofficial corridor outposts, providing a physical footprint for a population where 37% of the city was born outside the UK. Artists with roots along this route are exploring the duality of their identity. Creators like Riz Ahmed write and perform stories that bridge the gap between their heritage and their current environment, binding these disconnected cities together. The massive corridor has entirely outgrown its origins. It has transitioned into a synchronized, globally exported cultural identity. We tend to view the last few centuries of Western economic dominance as the historical standard, but if you zoom out far enough, you realize it is actually an anomaly. This historic manuscript illustrates the true baseline. Long before European powers rerouted the flow of global goods, this specific east-west connection was the original thousand-year axis of wealth. For centuries, the riches of entire empires moves almost exclusively through this exact Persian Gulf bottleneck. The physical evidence is still underfoot today. You can walk among thousands of ancient burial mounds stretching across Bahrain, proving that this region has facilitated human connection since before the word trade even existed. The modern corridor marks the inevitable restoration of the world's oldest economic baseline. If you are building a company or investing capital anywhere along this route, there is a core lesson here. The geopolitical noise, the sudden crises, the frightening headlines, they will always occur. But physical blockades and market anxiety are strictly temporary. They are brief disruptions to a system that is deeply entrenched and unbreakable. Look how the modern skyline rests quietly on top of that ancient foundation. The global noise will inevitably return on Monday morning, but the route and the people building it are permanent.